is it an advantage to the losing team in that you guys will spend all week making adjustments, trying to fix the things that went wrong, and then New England will only have the 3 hour period on Sunday to react to all that?
Well, I'm sure they're going through some adjustments on their end. They beat us, they controlled the game, and I'm sure though that's what coaches do. We always look for advantages and opportunities, even though you get the result, or sometimes you don't get the result. You're always looking to improve your football team. I'm sure they're doing the same on their end.
I just kind of look at it as, with a division game, you guys know each other so well, and with so little having the opportunity to change between the two games, the chess match that goes on, move, counter move, you guys are gonna get all this time to think about what you can do different, to be able to, make up for what went wrong in that first game. Is it a bit of an advantage from that point of view?
We've got a lot of work to do, so I don't know if it's an advantage or disadvantage really, Thad. I mean, we've got adjustments to make, certainly, because they handled us pretty well here.
All right. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, you guys were great in the red zone yesterday, going 4 or 5. Why is that going to be such an important emphasis of the next few weeks as you guys close out the regular season here, to just be as efficient as you can be in the red zone?
Yeah, Maddie, you got to be able to score touchdowns in the red zone. I was really proud of what the offense did yesterday, and Coach Dable and the offensive staff. High level of execution, which is what we're going to need going forward here.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean. Bill was asked today about, taking a game like 3 weeks ago with the weather elements. How much can you study from that? And, he said there's quite a bit you can, because it's still a football game. There's things. Do you kind of subscribe to that there's a lot, even though the elements were what they were, that you can take that game and look at it and take it into this week as you prepare for them again?
Yeah, I would say so. I'd agree. There's always things you can learn from film and firsthand experience at that. So I think there's, things that we take from that game. I'm sure, as he said, things that they'll take from that game and try and use as we go into this game.
Mm-hmm. And, obviously, I don't know how far down the road you've gotten into, looking at, the Colts game that they played the other night, but what have been your impressions? Obviously, you talked a little bit about Mac, and then you played against him and didn't throw too much. What do you think you guys have to do well against him specifically on Sunday?
Well, he's a good young quarterback. I thought he executed well the other night, in particular when they got behind. I thought that was impressive what he was able to do in bringing their team back. It's clear they have a lot of trust and confidence in him.
Thanks, Sean.
Hey, Sean. How do you keep the players focused and energized when you're preparing for a division game with big implications?
Well, you said it, where we are in the season, in December here, late December, entering into late December at least. I think the guys shouldn't lack for much motivation at this point. This is what you work all season for and all season, and you want to continue to improve your play every week.
And with the magnitude of the game, what do you tell your players for how to best manage their emotions so they don't get too high or too low throughout the week?
Yeah, I mean, that's where the focus has to be on the preparation, taking it one day at a time, and trying to improve each and every day, whether it be fundamentally or technique-wise, so we can be a better football team.
Thank you.
Sure.
Coach, Mookie Hawkins, Waffle Sports Cincinnati. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. The past couple of weeks, it's been some shuffling and just trying to, get things back to where they normally would be. But they've been answering the challenge, Coach. So just tell me, what have you learned about your team the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, I was impressed with the resiliency of the group yesterday, coaches included, with the late changes before the game in regards to the COVID situations that we had come up. So that'll be important for us as we continue to move forward, that it's a next man up approach for the players on the field, and that we continue to stay adaptable and we evolve as the situation calls for.
Absolutely. And I know on the defensive side, coach, normally you guys were allowing those 4-man pressures to get the job done. But as of late, you've been using 5 to 6-man pressures at times. So how pleased and confident have you been with those 5 to 6-man pressures at times?
Yeah, I thought it was a good blend overall yesterday. And, I think the guys, executed at a high level, which is what it really boils down to, whether it's 4, 5, 6. It's the execution that counts.
Absolutely. And one more, Coach. Spencer Brown. Do we have to give Spencer Brown the Josh Allen playlist? Do he need to listen to a little bit of Sinatra or or something like that before the game? I love the energy. But sometimes maybe he might need to listen to some music before the game.
Yeah, well, whatever playlist you come up with, I'm sure he'll appreciate that, Mookie.
I got you, Coach. Have a good week.
All right, you too.
Hey, Sean, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. As you'd expect, your post-game comments created a lot of attention here in New England in regard to Bill Belichick, and I was just interested in, upon reflection upon those, it seemed like the intent was that you guys beat yourselves, but what was your overall feeling on those comments and your take on it post?
Yeah, Chris, 100% of where we fell short, what we could have done better, 100% that. And that's really it. I mean, 100% respect for Coach Belichick, and it was really just focused on us, and that was the intent.
And you talked about it a little before and what you could take away from that game, and it's perhaps limited. Do you think that there will be big adjustments from what we saw in that particular game outside of, obviously they're not going to run the football as much as they did, but do you basically expect there to be a very different look from both teams going into this contest?
It's interesting. I think both are good teams, and certainly they've got a really good team, well coached, and they've got players that have been in that system for quite some time, in particular on the defensive side. And so I don't know, it'll be, I think, part of that chess match. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to fundamentals and technique and execution like it normally does.
And final thing, is there a difference that you notice in a team coming off of a loss, whether it's your team going into this week against Carolina or what you expect from them coming off of the Indianapolis game, where there's kind of a refocus, a recommitment, and perhaps a greater amount of intensity?
What's your question, I guess, Chris?
But do you notice, like, a team coming off a loss, are they different? Are they a more dangerous team perhaps than a team that's coming off a victory?
Well, I mean, I think it's just you try and get into a routine every week where it's you try and be consistent in your approach, whether you win or you lose, and you make adjustments either way. And I think that's kind of the value of the process that we go through, and Monday through Saturday, and making yourself and your football team a better team.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, Mike, Carolina. You said something yesterday was interesting about them not having basically a kicker and how it can make it more difficult. Is it amaze you a little bit, as long as you've been in this league, how quickly it's just sort of become a 4-down league now? And how much time do you spend having to think about those situations, whether offensively or defensively, what might happen on a 4th down, when it used to be kind of common you'd see a kick?
Yeah, I mean, that's, you saw some of it. I saw some of it last night, even, Coach Harbaugh going for 2, and some of those things, analytics involved, and then your gut feel on it, and all those things. And so you do your best to make the best decision for your football team. And so the preparation part of it leading up to the game is an important piece as well.
And is it, how much of that is somewhat predetermined in terms of you've thought about it both offensively and defensively in an approach, and how much of it is just, on the fly, depending on the exact circumstances?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when really the game is 0-0 or early in the game, those are the ones that are a little bit more predetermined. But as the game ebbs and flows, where there's things that change situationally, down and distance-wise, field position, score, all those things that get factored in through the course of the game, and it can change you know, whether you're going forward or decide to kick, punt, whatever, as the game kind of goes on.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, Sean Jackson, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Well, thanks. You know, with all he's done really these last 3 games, above all else, is there anything that, you know, sticks out to you as like extra special, or what's really impressed you the most about the way Gabe Davis has played?
Yeah. You know, I think it's more of a continuation of where he left off last season, to be honest with you, Jackson. It's he's always been tough. He's always been smart, versatile player. Guy that you can trust. Josh has a lot of trust and faith in him, and so I think it's just really a continuation of where he left off last season, and then some of what he did to this point, or the last couple of weeks at least, and then he's just built on that the last few weeks here.
Awesome, thanks.
Hey, Sean, it's been 3 games now since you've lost Tre'Davious White, and you've seen different types of offenses. You've pretty much seen a pretty good spread of all the different things that a team might want to do. Can you just give an overview of where you think your secondary is now, 3 games into its new incarnation?
Yeah, I think they've done a nice job in a lot of ways. You know, they're working together back there, and you know, I like what they've done. And again, in with the void, and trying to fill the void of Tre'Davious being gone. Again, like I've said before, it's not a player you can replace 100% just because of who he is as a player and a person. But I like the grit that they've shown back there.
Is there anything that you can tell, whether it be behind the scenes or just from your coach's eye, and somebody who obviously has such intimate working knowledge of how secondaries operate, as to what the average fan or the media might not be able to tell regarding how these guys have been evolving here over the last 3 games?
I mean, I don't really have a kind of an aha moment or anything for you, Tim. I just think it's, you know, they've been very consistent. I love how they prepare during the week. They're always here working, studying film, working on their communication, working on how they see things, making sure they see it the same. And if they don't, then speaking up. So I think that there's a leadership component to that really goes through Micah and Jordan more than anything.
Thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, you've kind of already touched on it a little bit, but I'm just wondering, does the fact that the Patriots only threw 3 times in the first game make it more difficult to prepare for this one, given that you just don't have a ton of in-person experience to go on? Or is it just kind of like preparing for the first game where you just look at the film and go off what you already know about their system?
Help me clear up your question there so I make sure I answer it the right way.
No, I'm just wondering, the fact that the Patriots only threw 3 passes in the first game, does that just make it more difficult to prepare for, you know, going up against their passing game this time around, just that you don't have a ton of experience going against it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's a part of their game plan that we really didn't see. I'm sure they, you know, feel good about that part of their game plan. Obviously, the weather impacted some things there, so you know, I'm sure that we'll see some of that this coming weekend here.
Thank you.
Sure.
There we go. Good afternoon, Coach. George Redney, Challenger Community News.
Hi, George.
All right. Question for you. Do you think the slight injury to Josh the week before in Tampa Bay might have been a blessing in disguise? Because yesterday it seemed like he was definitely had the notion not to run. He kind of went side to side and stayed in there a little bit longer. And then receivers ended up breaking open because he stayed a little longer and also moved side to side instead of obviously running and taking off over the line of scrimmage. Seemed like his patience of waiting, and guys were, especially on that Gabriel Davis second touchdown.
Yeah, I thought Josh, you know, at times really moved well in the pocket, to your point, and that'll be important moving forward as well. And I think there was a time or two where he did run and scramble, and I thought that worked well as well and was effective. And so, you know, I think just overall, he only ran when he had to run, and I think that was good to see.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, and good luck this coming week.
All right, thanks, George.
That's all we have for today. Thanks,
All
Coach.
right, thank you, guys.
Hey, Coach, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I got you.
All right, great. We'll get started with questions, and Matt will have our first question.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
I'm good. I think it was a couple weeks ago. I can't remember which game it was after, but Josh was asked about, how do you get out of a funk? And he said, sometimes it might just be simplifying things a little bit. And I'm curious, over the last couple games, as your offense has really started to find some success, has that been in play at all, where maybe you've tapered things back at all or simplified anything? And if so, how has that helped things?
No, I give credit to the guys going out there and executing. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. You prepare the best you can during the week. You go out there and you call the plays that you think are going to be successful. Some are successful, some aren't. But at the end of the day, this is a player's game. I give those guys a lot of credit. They bust their tails. They work extremely hard, and they're the ones out there making plays. We'll always do what we've done since I've been here. Is you try to put together a plan that you think is good for that opponent that week. Sometimes you like them to all work. There's certainly obstacles along the way throughout the game to game. We've talked about this before. I think resiliency is really important. It's the nature of the NFL that we're in. So we work hard every week to try to do the best we can to try to attack the things we need to attack and make adjustments throughout the game as we need to make them. But ultimately, and I'll always say this, it's credit to the players that go out there and make the plays when they need to be made.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, lots been made of Gabriel the last couple of days. Big game on Sunday. I'm curious, what allows him to be so effective in the red zone? Obviously, the touchdowns are what they are, but it seems like, some guys, it seems, raise their level of play. Not that others don't, but it seems like he has a lot of success down there. Is there anything that he does specifically or about him that allows him to have success down there?
Well, he's big and he's got a good catch radius and he's got good hands. That always helps. The windows are a lot tighter. I mean, the two plays that he made yesterday, one was just a great throw and a great concentration catch by Josh there around the 20 or somewhere around there. And the next one, he just had to, make a play. We were kind of open there. So again, he's a guy that's dependable. Matt, he does what he's supposed to do, but he does have a good catch radius. He's got good size. But I'd say it's not just the red zone. He's made a lot of plays for us since he's been here. And he'll need to continue to. He's always improving. I've spoke about this at length during training camp. I have a lot of confidence in him in terms of knowing our system, what's expected, but he's a great competitor for us. A guy we trust.
Respect on the handlebar. Thanks, Brian.
You got it.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Hey, Thad. Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for asking. I wanted to ask, you've prepared for 1,000 NFL games in your career. What's different about this situation where not only are you playing the same team for the second time in 3 weeks, but your staff has been consistent for a long time. Their staff has been consistent for a long time. You'd think that both groups would know each other about as well as any two NFL coaching staffs can.
Yeah, not much. I mean, it's a division game. Have much respect for the players on the Patriots and for the coaching staff. They're as good as it gets, both of them. It's always a challenge the second time that you're playing a team during the season. But again, it's going to come down to, doing our best to try to come up with a good plan and then ultimately executing that plan. And it'll be a challenging game. It's always challenging when you play this team. It's challenging when you play, second division games. So it'll take everybody's best.
Is it difficult to maybe avoid the need or the feel to try and go deep into the bag of tricks, come up with something crazy? And you've talked about trying to simplify this offense that this team has for the last few weeks, but holding to that and saying, even though it's the same team we saw 3 weeks ago, do we want to go too deep in the bag to try and make an adjustment or come up with some crazy game plan for the second time?
Yeah, I think. Look, again, I don't know. I don't think crazy is the right word. I just think we're gonna do what we always do, which is we're gonna work hard today and tomorrow to try to put together plays that we think will be successful against this team. And you're always going to have to adjust throughout the game. That team makes you do that quite often. And, at the end of the day, you're going to have to do the things that you think you need to do to try to win and go out there and execute. And that's what it's going to take against a good football team.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it.
You got it, Thad.
Hey, Brian, I want to go back to that throw you just mentioned, the throw on Josh's touchdown to Gabe's, the first touchdown. And I'm not trying to make Josh out to be a superhero or anything like that, but are there times where even maybe you look at the film, like I know I'm looking at the back angle there and I'm thinking, I have no idea how he knew he would even be there. But are you times where you even say, like, that's just not normal for an NFL quarterback to be able to do something like that and say, that's why he's special?
Yeah, I'm glad he's on our team. I have a lot of confidence in him. He's, whether it's in the run game or the pass game, I think he's got a good grasp of what we're trying to do. And again, I think he's confident in his abilities when he has an opportunity to make a throw like that. And, it really takes everybody. It's not just Josh, and he'll be the first one to tell you got to have some protection and the guy's got to run good routes and end up ultimately finishing the play. He's made quite a few plays for us. 4 years he's been here with us. I think he's improved every year. And that just takes some time. It takes some chemistry amongst just him and the receivers to have the confidence to go ahead and pull the trigger when he pulls the trigger.
Then on the second touchdown pass to Gabe, it came on a fourth down. Is that something that you kind of have in your back pocket, your game plan for if you get the right situation and look, or is that something that you came up with as the game went on and say, what, they've been doing this in this situation? I guess I want to go back to how much you were prepared for that particular situation leading up to the game and had that ready to go.
Yeah, I think you have to prepare for that situation. We call it gotta have it plays. There's going to be, as the league has kind of evolved over these last few years, and fourth downs, you've been going for them more based on the field conditions or field position or weather or time of game. I think you always have to be prepared and, not just on a fourth and short, but maybe a fourth and longer or the beginning part of the game or whatever it may be. And all you can do is to research and prepare off the studies that you've done, throughout the year, what they've done in those situations, or go back a couple of years to figure that out. And, at the end of the day, you never know. They could show a tendency, Sale, of, they're always playing man-to-man coverage, and then bam, they play zone. And we're going to have to do a good job of reacting to things like that.
Hey, Coach, have a good Christmas week.
Okay, you too, Sal.
Coach Dable, Mookie Arkins, Waffle Sports 1080. How you doing today?
Good, Mook. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. Yesterday, you got the news about John Feliciano's not being available right before game time. How much did that line switch affect certain plays you had planned, going into yesterday's matchup?
Well, that's why you have depth on your roster. Credit Brandon and Joe for that. The guys that are here, we have confidence in. Mook. Obviously, they're not all the same, but we have confidence. They wouldn't be here if we didn't. Whether they're on the practice squad or not. That's what you're always, trying to help improve those players, whether they're the last man on the roster on the practice squad or your top guy, and call it Josh. You're trying to improve every single one of them and make sure they understand what we're trying to do. You give credit to all the assistant coaches that work extremely hard with those guys. Guys like Shay and Wendy and Mark Lubick and those guys that are working with practice squad guys and Soph, and that you're a pro. You better be ready to go when your number's called, because we've all learned, I'd say, over the last 2 years that you better be able to adapt and adjust, and you be able to do it, rather quickly. So really, that's our approach. We've had plenty of, things these last couple of years that come up, and I think you have to keep a cool head, a cool demeanor about yourself, put together a good plan as quick as you can, go out there with confidence in the players that you have, and try to put them in good position and make sure they're ready to go throughout the week.
Right. I mean, from Spencer Brown moving from right tackle to left tackle, I mean, that's not done every day. Just care to talk about how he was able to handle the switch.
Yeah, I mean, that's go back. We talk a lot about this in training camp. I know I get a lot of questions about, well, you guys like reporting where those guys are lined up and the differences. And he's at right guard and left guard and right tackle, now left tackle, and this guy played center. And that's part of the plan. As you're going through, you only get so many, at a game, and the more you can have position flexibility, the better it'll serve you. So those guys, they've played a lot of positions for us, I'd say, since training camp or even OTAs. And that's why you do that, is to build depth and confidence when you have to make a switch like that. That's why we do it.
One more, Coach. Bill Belichick, for forever. I mean, it goes all the way back from Super Bowl 25 when he played against Jim Kelly and the K-Gun. His recipe: keep a high-powered offense off the field with a sound running game and defense, and that's kind of been like his recipe throughout. Probably one of the reasons why he ran 45 times the last meeting. But how will you be able to dictate tempo while balancing this offense the second time around, Coach?
I think just comes down to doing our job. I don't make it more than that. Everybody's got responsibilities, from the coaching staff to the players, and we work together with that. It's a team thing. We have to go out there and, as Sean puts it, do your 111th. Be a good communicator. Know the game plan. Go out there with positive energy and passion, and ultimately it comes down to executing when your number's called.
Absolutely, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thanks, Mook.
Hey, Brian, Mike, Catalana.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, look, I know every game you got to prepare the same, and it's the way you guys work. But isn't this kind of what you sign up for, to be in games like this? I mean, it's you got to keep everything even, but I mean, it's for the division lead and all those things. It's a rematch and all that sort of idea of this is what the NFL is about, and you get a shot like this, both the rematch with them this week.
Yeah, I would just say meaningful games in December. If you're playing in those, that's where you want to be. They all count. They're all important, whether it's in September or not. But once you get down to it, you can see the way this league is right now. There's a lot of parity. Teams winning that nobody thinks can win, teams losing that. I mean, it's just it's a highly competitive league. It's the best league there is in the world. Obviously blessed to be part of it. And, if it's competition you're looking for, and that's where December football games are, that's where they are, what they are. High competition level, usually some type of stakes at it. It'll be an important week.
Great. Thank you.
You got it.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hi, Elena. Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. I was just curious, Devin's snap count has gone up a lot, especially the last two games. And obviously we've talked a lot about him and the running backs, but is there anything specifically that we don't get to see that you've seen from him as of late that's made you had confidence in him or want to, involve him more in the offense? What has that looked like from your perspective?
Yeah, I think we've always had confidence in Devin. He's just been a consistent player for us. He's much, we talk about Dawson a lot. I think Butler's improved since he's been here a lot. He's a guy that we drafted, and each year he's gotten a little bit better. And, the job of running back is to make yards when you have the ball in your hand and know who to block and be able to block him, to simplify it as much as I can. He's certainly a guy that we have trusted. Thought he played a good game yesterday. Always things that we can get better at, but guys that we have a lot of confidence. I have a lot of confidence in.
Thanks.
You got it.
Hey, Brian, Julianne Palusi, Channel 2. How you
Hey,
doing?
good. How are you?
Good, good. I think Perino touched on this a little bit, but Gabriel Davis, he said that he thanked Josh Allen for trusting him after Emmanuel Sanders went down. He had a great game yesterday without Sanders, and clearly you trust him too. What has he done to earn that trust from both of you?
Well, I think just the way that he approaches his job. I just remember the Zoom meetings that we had with him, I'd say when he was in college, getting ready to enter the draft, the way he approached that, the way he was able to pick up the material that we're teaching him. We always look for smart, tough, dependable guys. We place a premium on it. He's very smart. He's got really good toughness. He's been dependable for us since he's been here. Not just on the field, but off the field. He does the right thing. He's good in the community. He understands what we're trying to do. He knows all the positions. He's just, for a second-year player, I think he's, I'll say wise behind his years, but certainly a guy that we trust in the roles that we put him in. You got it.
Hi, Brian. Nick Fierro here. Want to ask about, I think you touched on this a little bit earlier, and certainly Spencer did yesterday. It was how tough of an adjustment is it at the last minute, basically, to go from the right side to the left side, especially for a rookie tackle who hasn't done it, and he didn't really do it in college either. Is that kind of I don't know. It's different for different people, but what was it like for him?
I think that'd be a good question for him. I'd say just watch him. Look, he plays with a play style that we covet. I think he's tough. He's aggressive. Look, there were plays that we all wish we had back, and that always starts with me. But for a young player, again, credit Brandon and Joe and the rest of those guys upstairs that do all that scouting, our scouts. That's why we place a premium on intelligence, Nick, is, to be able to do those things when we need them to be done. There's most of our linemen, I'd say our receivers, our running backs can play multiple roles and learn different things. So it's, we place a premium on that, and he has the qualities that, he's able to do that.
Yeah, I was really kind of more referring to just the mechanical aspect of, the mirror part of it, putting the left hand on the ground. It can be a lot tougher. It's something he kind of had to do there. He was trying to get on the fly. But I also want to ask about your running backs. And there have been periods of times where, each of your backs have been kind of used more than others. And it looks like Devin is being used more now. And I know a lot goes into it. It's not just, how well they run. It's everything else. It's pass protection. It's how much progress has he made in those other areas, especially pass protection with Devin?
With Motor, yeah, I think he's done a really good job improving each year, Nick. We place obviously we do a lot in practice in terms of improving fundamentals. So the pass protection work and the technique of fitting up into the gaps, and he's not the biggest guy, but he usually has pretty good leverage, and he usually plays with strong inside leverage on it. He's done a good job. Protection is a little bit more difficult, I'd say, from going from college into the pros and learning all the nuances of that, and the different read keys that he has to look at to do his job. And he's done a good job really improving since he's been here. We have faith and confidence in him that, again, you got to be smart back there. And there's a lot of different moving parts, that these defenses give you nowadays. So you better know who to block first, because that's the most important, and be able to go out there technically and do it with good power and strength and leverage. And he's improved in that area.
Thanks.
You got it.
Hey, Brian, it's Jay. How you doing?
Hey, Jay.
Hey, I know you had a couple yesterday to start the game, but overall, in general, how would you say the offense has done this season in avoiding 3-and-outs?
I don't know. You guys would know better than me in terms of the stats and numbers. Look, when you get behind the 8 ball, really in any drive, that's when it's a lot more difficult. Percentages go down. We just try to do our job and move the football and do what we can to score points, because ultimately at the end of the day, that's the job of an offense, is to score points. So I don't know where the numbers are relative to last year or what it is. But if you're executing your plays, and it's not always going to be perfect, I mean, you're going to have some challenging plays, to have successful drives, unless you hit a real big one, and that improves the percentage of scoring football. But our guys have done a good job for the most part of executing their plays and, working together to try to move the ball down.
Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is that it's not realistic to think that every drive is going to end in points, right? That's just reality. But, being able to pick up a first down, on a possession, in terms of what that means for flipping field possession, can be big for the entire team, for, setting your defense up in a better position at times, right?
No doubt. Absolutely. Look, like you said, it's not realistic. Your goal is to score. Scoring 30 points in an NFL game is not easy. We've had some of those. We've had some where we didn't score as much, but obviously moving the ball, anytime you can move the ball, that's going to help your football team, obviously. Whether that is a flip field position or move the ball and score points, it's a critical aspect of the game.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brian.
Yep, you got it.
That's all we have. Thanks, Coach.
Okay. Have a good night. Have a good holidays, guys.
Hey, Kayla.
Hey, Leslie, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Hey, Kayla, I want to just open up with a couple remarks. Just, really thrilled at the success of our team yesterday. In particular, just watching our defensive line. There was an article. There's Jay right there. There was an article that Jay had wrote about our D line, and they played so well for us yesterday, and they've done a good job for us throughout the year. And I just wanted to make sure that the audience understood that, we're very supportive of our D-line, really appreciate the work that they put in. I mean, we don't get to be the best pass defense in the league without the work that they've done and as well as we've done on third down and so many other statistical categories. They're doing a good job. It's great to have Star back. That was a big help yesterday. It's good to see the maturation of Greg Russo and Carlos Basher, watching those guys grow and develop, along with the development of Ed Oliver. And then you have a Mario Addison, Jerry Hughes there to kind of bring those guys along and help them. And they're doing some good things. And, hopefully we can just continue to move forward and grow as a group. And just really pleased with the production that they gave us yesterday. But I just wanted to make sure that the audience understood that we liked a lot of the things that our D-line is doing and have been doing throughout the season. And, we just expect to finish strong here in the month of December and just keep moving forward as a group.
Thanks, Leslie. You ready to get into questions?
Yes.
All right, great. We'll start with Matt then.
Good afternoon, Leslie. How are you?
Hey, Matt, how are you?
I'm great. To your point, I mean, this is a defense. It's hard to poke holes in it. I mean, you guys have been really, really good all season long. The one area, tackling, missed tackles, you guys are near the top of the league in terms of missed tackles. Talked to a couple guys about it the last couple days. Played Tampa Bay. Leonard Fournette came out and said, we knew they weren't a good tackling team. So I know for a group that's as, good and as prideful as you are with a lot of veterans, how does that sit? And what are those conversations like in the room as you try to maybe fix some of those things?
Yeah, we take a lot of pride in our tackling and really, doing all we can to create negative plays, Matt. And we've traditionally been near the top of the league in creating negative plays and early downs. And there's a little bit of give or take, it seems, with us doing that, because we've also had the missed tackles along the way. And we'll continue to work on and try to improve on that part of it, because in order to be a good run defense, you got to be a good tackling defense as well. And, so we want to improve that. We want to make sure we're getting guys to the ball. And then once we're there, making that tackle, and not always leading it on one guy to make the tackle, but getting population around the ball to limit the explosive runs in particular.
Mm-hmm. In terms of your run defense, Harrison Phillips seems like he's been really popping off, the screen the last couple of games. Is this that period of time now where he's kind of back to where he was before the injury and giving you guys, what was starting to look like in 19, starter level contributions, and it seems like he might be back at that point?
Yeah, yes, I'm glad you pointed that out. He's really playing well for us. He had a really good game yesterday, made some really key plays for us in the run game. And, he's battled through injuries and fought back, and he's probably playing as close to what he was prior to the injury as he's been at any point. So it's exciting to see his development, and he's playing free now. He's playing with confidence and just doing a lot of good things to make all of us feel really good about his production, as well as helping our defense in the run game.
Mm-hmm. And if I could, one more quick one, just in case I can't get back in. Afi Obata, obviously a huge game yesterday. He's had some contributions on, limited opportunities, it's like a lot of guys on your team. Is he somebody that maybe might be earning a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, he's had, as you mentioned, some games where he splashed and made some good plays for us. I think back to even the KC game, and that was a while back, but he had some big plays in that game for us. And obviously yesterday had a major contribution to the success of our team yesterday. So he's one of those guys who, we'll continue to bring along. He got banged up there for a period and had to miss a game. I mean, I think it was on a Friday before a game. We were counting on him, and then all of a sudden he couldn't play. But when he's been available and up, he's done a good job for us. So we want to just continue to bring him along and keep him in the rotation as best we can.
Thanks, Leslie. Merry Christmas.
You're welcome. Thanks, man.
Hi, Leslie. Good afternoon. How you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. Matt Milano seems to always be around the football, and he has a career high 14 tackles for loss so far this season. What have you seen out of Milano as of late?
Yeah, it just seems like he's playing with so much more confidence on the field. And part of it is, he's been in this system now for 4 or 5 years. So he's very comfortable with Tremaine, who is his side mate, along with, having a group of guys around him that he's comfortable with. And I think that has a lot to do with the way he plays. He plays fast, he plays physical, very productive, as you mentioned. And he's having an outstanding season, an impact season. And I'm glad that Brandon Bean and Sean, got him re-signed. It's really been good for our defense.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There we go. Good afternoon, Coach. George Radney, Challenger Community News. How you doing?
I'm doing good, George. Good to see you.
Same here. Good to see you as well. Happy holidays to you and your family as well coming up. And I've just a question for Harrison Phillips. Seems like is it that he's now understanding the system more? Because he seems like he's not reacting anymore. He's automatically, boom, going to whatever his assignment may be on various plays. Because even when he's not in on tackles, he seems to be right there at the point of attack.
Yeah, Matt pointed that out earlier, how far he's come from his injury to watching him play now, George. And you're right. I mean, he's just reacting. He's not having to think about things. He's just making plays because he's healthy now. He understands schemes. He understands how people want to try to block him. He understands our defense, and he's making a big difference for us on the interior, and creates more confidence for our defense having him out there on the field. So it's great to see. He's one of the hardest workers on our team, and one of the best guys on our team as a person as well. So really happy for the way he's playing.
Yes, indeed. Man of the Year, Walter Payton, Man of the Year candidate this year.
Yes.
So, yes, indeed. And my last question, Effie Abada, is he almost an in-betweener where he can play on the line? But I noticed his quick feet. He could also play the edge as well. Is that a possibility because of his quickness?
Yeah, you're right on. I mean, he's a guy who we line up inside at times, and we line him up outside and rush off the edge. So he gives us that kind of flexibility, which is one of the reasons we wanted to get him signed in the offseason. And what better team to have a great day of production than your old team, the Carolina Panthers. He did a terrific job for us yesterday, and we moved him inside and outside, just like you're describing, because of the flexibility he gives us on the D-line.
And coming up with New England this week, and after seeing the game last week with the Colts and seeing their passing game, it looks like you're starting to do more even gambling at the line with the Milano, with guys filling those gaps to stop the run, maybe give up on go after the run more, forcing them into a passing game.
We still want to be sound in what we do in defending the run and not giving up explosive passes. I mean, that's a big deal for us. And, against New England, we're going to have to be able to deal with their run game for sure, but they're capable of passing the football. They got good receivers, got a good young quarterback. Their backs catch the ball out of the backfield. So we're going to have to be able to do both. We're going to have to be able to defend the run as well as defend the pass when we line up against them.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Happy holidays, happy Kwanzaa to you, and look forward to this weekend. Good luck this weekend up in Foxborough.
Thank you.
Coach Frazier, Mookie Hawkins, Waffle Sports Cincinnati. How you doing?
Doing good, Mookie. How you doing, man?
I'm good, Coach. I'm good. And it seems like your Carolina boys stepped up to the plate yesterday with the FA playing with 2 sacks and Starr plugging up the middle. AJ Klein with the big interception to close it out. And even Vernon Butler was getting vertical, up the field there. Tell me, what have you learned about this defense the past couple of weeks, Coach?
Over time, you get a chance to see the resiliency of the group, the way they battle and just fight through different things, whether it be adversity like the first half of the game we had against Tampa Bay, or yesterday, just the unevenness of the game at times because of Carolina's desire to run the football with the quarterback. And the fact that our guys just have that stick to it attitude, that's a big deal in our league, man, because there are going to be some ups and downs, some highs and lows, and you need a resilient group. You need a high character group of guys just to be able to fight through things. And they've shown that over the last few weeks. And they continue to fight, and make plays when we need to make plays.
Absolutely, man. And coming off, the loss on Monday night to New England, how bad did this defense wanted to get another shot at New England right then and there? And, what are some of the things that you'll have to do different to have a different outcome come Sunday, Coach?
That game was so bizarre because of the weather. It was just it's a different type of game in a lot of ways. And the weather really dictated how that game went. And this game will be far different. My understanding, the conditions will be a lot better, not nearly as severe as that Monday night game was. So that'll change the strategy on both sides' part. And then we'll have to adjust as the game goes. But we expect it to be a different type of game just because the conditions will be different.
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas, Coach, and good luck this week.
Thank you. Thank you. And Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Leslie, how you doing?
Hey, Jay.
Hey, if you want to give me credit, I'm always glad to take it. No problem. Thank you.
No, you get some credit, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so if you can write an article, we get 4 sacks every year. Write another article. We'll take the 4 sacks. We want that. So.
I want them hanging up in the locker room. Okay, make sure. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yes.
No. Yeah, just kidding with you, of course. I wanted to ask you about 3 and outs. I asked Brian this, and obviously the flip side is true. But in terms of forcing them, knowing that not every drive is going to end in a takeaway defensively, but the importance of forcing 3 and outs and what that can mean for better field position for your offense in getting off the field defensively. I think you had 2 of them yesterday. How would you say you guys have done in that regard this season to date, and just how important is that to be able to get off the field as quickly as possible defensively?
Yeah, we think it's pretty important. Our goal is, Jay, 4 game. That's our goal. And I have to go back and see how many times we've met that goal. There have been a number of games where we have met it, and there have been some games where we didn't, but we still played good defense. At the end of the day, it's about points. And when you're not giving up points, our goal is to hold teams to 19 points or less. When you're not giving up points, you're giving your team a chance to win. You love to be able to get 3 and outs, force a team to punt, give you offense opportunities. But most games, both teams are going to get the same amount of touches, on average about 10 drive starts. So it's a matter of what do you do with your drive starts? What are you doing with your 10 possessions? And in our case, we want to force those 3 and outs. Ideally, we like to take it away before you get to 3 if we don't get to 3 and out. But that is a goal of ours. But at the end of the day, man, it's points, not giving up points. You don't want to see people consistently putting together 10, 11 play drives. That's not a good thing. But if you can take it away and you're not giving up points, you're giving your team a chance to win.
Yeah. Thanks, Leslie. I appreciate the insight as always.
Yes, no problem.
Hi, Leslie. One quick last one. Mac Jones, obviously didn't see a lot of him the first time around. What are your impressions of him, and how much is it important in a game like this against a young rookie quarterback to impact him early? And I guess, what's the balance between creating that up front and what you guys do on the back end in terms of disguising things and trying to make him uncomfortable back there?
Yeah. Well, there's tremendous value in being able to minimize the run game so that quarterback can't lean on it. Most offenses want to be 2-dimensional. They want to be balanced to be able to run the ball, play action pass, take shots down the field. So when you take that run game away and make them a 1-dimensional offense, it's just so much easier for us to defend that style offense versus one that's balanced. Now, the second part of your question, the disguise really, really helped our pass defense, and our safeties do a terrific job in making things hard for any quarterback, veteran or young quarterback, to determine whether or not we're playing this coverage or that coverage. And I think that has a lot to do, Matt, with why we're ranked as high as we are in pass defense this season and traditionally over the years, because Jordan and Micah do such a great job of disguising and buying our pass rush another second to disrupt. And we're ranked really high in disruptions. And a lot of it has to do with what happens on the back end as well as what goes on up front.
Thanks, Leslie. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Leslie. That's all we have for today.
Okay, thanks, guys.